From its reputation as the world's deadliest creature to several people afflicted by its dangerous bite, this is what happens when mosquitoes attack. Today's video was requested by South Taylor. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 5. Maria McGranaghan. While vacationing with her family on the Greek island of Corfu, 13-year-old Maria McGranaghan decided to sleep outside to cope with the intense heat. In doing so, the teenager from Manchester, England, suffered a number of mosquito bites all over her body. She developed a rash on her face, which was treated when she returned to England. A few days after she'd returned, McGranahan complained about feeling sick, dizzy and cold. She then suddenly collapsed in front of her friends. McGranahan was pronounced dead on arrival to the emergency room. Doctors later discovered that she'd suffered a fatal heart attack. The teen was fit and in good health, so there was no apparent natural causes to explain her death. Doctors believe that she'd contracted a virus from the mosquito bites which attacked her heart muscles. Next up, there's an Indian woman who's never worn shoes because of her mosquito-borne condition, but first, let's learn more about these dangerous creatures. Mosquitoes are small winged insects belonging to Diptera, the order of flies. They have a single pair of wings, a slender segmented body, and 3 pairs of very thin legs. The infamous buzzing sound that mosquitoes make is produced by the rapid movement of their wings, which can flap over 600 times per second. For most species, adult females have a tube-like mouthpart called a proboscis. It enables them to pierce through a host's skin and feed on its blood. There are few creatures in the animal kingdom that are exempted from a mosquito's blood-sucking ways. Its victims include mammals, reptiles, birds, amphibians, and a number of fish and invertebrate species. The actual loss of blood is typically of no consequence to a human host. An itchy rash will typically form and is caused by a reaction to the mosquito's saliva, yet this creature has earned a reputation as the planet's ultimate human killer. This is due to the fact that they're carriers for a number of potentially lethal diseases. Before we move on, answer this question. Why do mosquitoes need our blood? A. To regenerate their tissue. B. To lay eggs. C. For daily sustenance. D. To attract mates. Let us know what you think in the comments section below and stay tuned to find out the right answer. Number 4. Tahida-Jan. Also known as lymphatic filarial disease, Elephantiasis is a parasitic infection caused by filarial worms, which are spread by mosquitoes. It affects the lymphatic system and blocks the flow of lymph through the body. This causes severe swelling in the arms, breast, legs, or genitalia. One report from India is particularly terrifying. In 2018, at the time that media attention was brought to her case, Tahida-Jan, still in her early 20s, had never worn shoes. Jan's feet were already swollen as a baby, and they only kept on growing. The severe bullying she'd suffered at school eventually made her quit her studies. Jan had most of her toes amputated when she was 14 in an effort to stop her feet from growing. It didn't work, and years of treatment ultimately proved unsuccessful. At 11 inches long and 7 inches wide, her feet were roughly the size of footballs. Even as heavy snow fell on her remote village in the Kashmir region, Jan still had to walk barefoot. She told a media outlet that her one dream was to one day wear shoes like her friends. Before we get to our next listing involving a viral outbreak in the US, let's see where mosquitoes are located on the globe. Mosquitoes enjoy a worldwide distribution with the exception of Antarctica and a number of islands with polar or subpolar climates, such as Iceland. In Arctic or subarctic regions such as Alaska or Canada, mosquitoes may only be active for a few weeks. However, it's within that time that they form monstrous swarms that have become the bane of people, caribou, reindeer, and other mammals living in the frozen north. There aren't many animals to feed on, so according to one researcher, when they do find one, they are ferocious. They're relentless. They do not stop. Climate change has reportedly exacerbated the Arctic swarm issue in recent years. Number 3. Triple E deaths in the US. In September 2019, a Triple E outbreak was reported in the United States, particularly in Michigan and New England. Across the nation, 11 people lost their lives as of October the 15th, 2019. The virus has also been found in goats and horses. Triple E, or Eastern Equine Encephalitis, was actually first recognized in the US in 1831. The disease was identified after 75 horses mysteriously succumbed to viral encephalitis. It's caused by the toga virus, which is vectored through mosquito bites. In humans, Triple E begins with headaches, fever, chills, and vomiting. It can then progress to brain inflammation, seizures, coma, and death. According to the Center for Disease Control, about 1 in 3 people who get Triple E die. Coming up next, a mosquito bite leaves a 6-year-old girl unable to recognize her own parents. But first, let's go over how mosquitoes can kill you. Before we continue, official They Will Kill You merchandise is now available at theywillkillyou.com. Stop clowning around and check it out, because your purchases really help support the channel. According to one hair-raising estimation, mosquitoes may be responsible for killing as many as half of all the people who've ever lived. Various species act as vectors for viruses and parasites that cause diseases. Mosquitoes don't typically exhibit symptoms as they transmit these organisms from person to person. One example is the Plasmodium parasites carried by female mosquitoes in the Anopheles genus. They can cause malaria, which claims anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million lives each year, particularly in Africa and Latin America. Other mosquito-borne diseases include West Nile virus, Zika virus, yellow fever, dengue fever, or various types of encephalitis. Mosquitoes transmit these diseases to over 700 million people each year, claiming at least 2 million lives. Number 2. Lauren Xena. In the spring of 2019, 6-year-old Lauren Xena was bit by a mosquito and soon started to develop fever. Her parents took her to the Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. The child was diagnosed with a typical UTI and sent home. That same day, Lauren started exhibiting a worrisome behavior. She was confused and didn't know who her parents were. The child asked for water, but threw the glass away when it was brought to her. She was taken back to the hospital, where doctors had to sedate her so they could take a blood sample. They discovered that her brain had swollen and determined she developed a rare condition called the cross encephalitis. It's caused by an arbovirus and vectored by the eastern treehole mosquito. Lauren suffered several seizures over the next few days as her body tackled the infection. Her life was saved, but doctors warned her parents she might suffer from cognitive setbacks following her ordeal. Before we move on to our next case involving a British lecturer left paralyzed by a bite, let's see what measures can be taken against mosquitoes. People most vulnerable to mosquito bites include pregnant women, people with type O blood, as well as those with high body heat. Each disease contracted through a mosquito bite requires a specific form of treatment. As it's usually the case, time is of the essence in contacting a medical professional. Researchers around the world are constantly working to improve the medicine and therapies for combating mosquito-borne illnesses. For most people, prevention is key, and it involves using nets, repellents, and insecticides in areas where diseases are endemic. If you're traveling to one of these regions, getting vaccinated properly can mean the difference between life and death. On a larger scale, scientists are looking at various ways of controlling the mosquito population. This has been done through the release of predators such as fish, lizards, and dragonflies, through parasites such as fungi, or through the introduction of sterile males. However, when it comes to the future of mosquito containment or eradication, the most promising research involves genetic engineering. So why do mosquitoes need our blood? Despite a common misconception that it's for daily sustenance, the right answer was B, to lay eggs. The females of many mosquito species need the nutrients from blood metal before they can produce eggs. The blood of humans and other vertebrates has the necessary iron and protein for this biological process. For daily sustenance, both males and females typically feed on plant juices and nectar. Number 1. Sophie Williams. In 2015, British University lecturer Sophie Williams and some students went on a trip to China in order to research the illegal orchid trade. The woman had just gotten her dream job as a permanent staff member at Bangor University, one of the top academic institutions in her native Wales. During the trip to China, Williams was bitten by a mosquito and started complaining about headaches and nausea. She then fell unconscious near the Laos and Myanmar border. Doctors determined that she contracted Japanese encephalitis and she was flown to a hospital in Bangkok. Williams spent weeks in a coma, connected to a life support machine. She was left paralyzed and dependent on a ventilator. She was eventually flown back to Wales, where she'd spend months in an old people's home needing round-the-clock care. The disease she'd contracted is caused by the Japanese encephalitis virus that uses pigs or wild birds as hosts. It can be transmitted to humans via mosquito bites. In severe cases, inflammation of the brain may occur, and about half the people who recover experience permanent problems. The disease may be prevented through a vaccine, but once infected, there's no specific treatment. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be locked in a room with a swarm of mosquitoes or jump in a swimming pool filled with leeches? Let us know in the comments section below.